3 weeks of January have gone by. I don't know how. This month is flying by about as fast as last year did. So anyway, that means it is time for a weekly transaction video. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. This is A Life Well Spent. My name is Kelly, and on this channel, I document my financial journey. This week's video is all about the transactions that took place in my budget in week 3. It's something that I do to kind of keep myself on track. I used to keep track of my spending because I used cash for everything. And then back in 2020, when COVID hit, I was using cash a lot less and was doing a lot of contactless ordering and pickup and stuff like that. So it just kind of made it really difficult. And I would find that I was getting to the end of the month and spent way more than I realized I was spending. So I needed to come up with a system, and this has just kind of been the system for the last 4. I guess we're going on year 5 of doing things this way. So let's get into it. All right, so not a ton of transactions this week compared to week 1, but a few. I did some shopping. So, first transaction is some money moving. It is $20 to my Christmas markets account. So, if you have not seen a video before or seen me talk about this, my mother and I are planning on going to the European Christmas markets next year, and this past year over our Thanksgiving break, we went to the Bahamas. And once I started making a plan for that, I was, once we booked the trip, I was like, I'm going to just set a little bit of money aside every week. And I don't know why I decided on $20. I guess I figured it would be like an easy amount of money to just throw into another account. But anyway, and small enough, I guess, that wasn't missed, but would still give me like a decent amount of money. With the idea of I would just take it. It's just cash I can spend to do like whatever I want with, and not really have to worry about tracking it or anything like that. And I liked it. I decided for the Christmas markets, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to just do $20 a week until we go. And that's that. So that's what that is. The next, let me see. Yeah, that was the only one. The only reason that's all the way up here in the transactions is because this actually is a table that's just going to be long running throughout the year. And essentially what I do is I just kind of copy all of the stuff that's repeating, like the things I pay every month, rather than having to re-enter them all. So anyway, all of the things that I know are recurring go up top here. So the dates get a little wonky. They don't necessarily stay in order there, but the rest of it, kind of mostly does. All right. So the next bit of transactions, I'm trying to do things a little bit differently this year, because when I haven't finished the video. That's my wrap up of my 2024 video, but I realized that some of my spending totals were a little off, because um I would include things that I was buying for other people, um mostly my mother. Like if I had gone to the grocery store, she doesn't have a Sam's Club membership anymore, so if she wants something that's Sam specific, then I go and I get it for her. Now she reimburses me, and I put the line item in that she reimburses me, but I would end up putting the total in. And so it looked like I spent the total, but I didn't, right? So yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to do things a little bit differently. And um, instead of combining those things, making sure I've kind of split hers out. So I am currently trying to get enough spend on a credit card for travel points. And our local Joann's, which is like a fabric and craft store, was going out of business. And so my mom was like, it's the last weekend for Joann's. You want to go? We'll see if we can get some stuff. Which in her mind was just, I'm looking for things that are good deals. I'm looking for discounts on things that I need anyway, or I buy anyway. So I was like, yes, but let me pay. Because again, I'm trying to rack up the spend where I don't normally spend enough money to really justify one of those things. But between 2 people, I can. So anyway, um, My mom spent she went to Joanne, she bought about $107.05 worth of stuff. So the first transaction is her paying me for that. The next transaction up here is a whole nother set of things that were hers. She spent $431.14. We went out to State College. There's a really great um, sporting goods store. Yeah, I guess they do have other sporting I'm not sure what they would call themselves. Like, to me, they're like the sneaker place, but they have more than just sneakers. It's called Rapid Transit. If you are ever in the State College area, they're great because they will watch how you walk. And if you're going to run in the sneakers, like, there's an alleyway nearby, and they'll take you out in the alleyway and they'll watch you run, and they'll fit you to shoes that are the best for how you transfer your weight, how you run, how, like, if you run a lot on, like, the inside of your feet, they'll give you something that has more support on the inside, and vice versa. So they're great. And my mom had mentioned that, like, her hip really hurts. She thinks it might be her shoes, so maybe she should just order new shoes. And I was like, well, why don't we go out to Rapid Transit and go and, like, actually get fitted for a proper pair of shoes? So we did that. But while we were out there, we made a bunch of other stops. So some of these are my spend. That's what I spent in all these shops. My mother bought two sneakers, and then she bought a bunch of stuff at Joann's and what have you. So it was $413.14 or $431.14 total. Once again, like, I paid for it to try to, like, rack up money on my credit card so I could get I think it's like I'm getting 60,000 points and miles out of it. So I am happy for that, because I think I have to spend $3,000 in 3 months. Now, part of the reason I pulled the trigger on it is because within the next 3 months, I have a conference that I'm going to, where, like, I will just pay for the hotel room, I'll pay for my food, and then my employer will reimburse me. So I was like, okay, there's extra spending. So yeah, that's that's where I'm at right now. Otherwise, like I said, I'd be host. There's no way I'd be spending that kind of money. Um, and I know people churn credit cards, and it really depends. Like, I live alone. I don't have a lot of money to spend on that kind of stuff. Like, I don't want to waste that kind of money just to spend it. And it's not like I would imagine if there's two people in this household, or if I had kids, like, I might be able to spend that money like that. It really is just like $1,000 a month of spending when you think about it. So it's not terrible, but I try to be frugal, so that does kind of make things a little bit more challenging. So I try to strategize around when I get them so that, like, I have something that's going to help me along, right? Like, if my refrigerator's kind of sort of dying, but if I ever get to the point where I have to, like, go ahead and replace it, then I will make sure that, like, I'm gonna get a card then, because I'm like, well, that's gonna get me a large portion of the way, just for something that, like, I need, or I know I need to replace. If I'm gonna do some work around the house where I know I'm gonna need to go purchase a bunch of stuff, I'm like, well, then I'll do it, because that'll get me a little bit further. And I don't look at that as, like, additional random extra spending that I wouldn't have had to spend. So anyway, my mother is helpful, because if in this case, like, it's just $500 for each of us of spend, and that's a lot more reasonable. So she kind of cracks me up, though. She's like, oh God, it's just so annoying. Why are we doing this? And I'm like, because for the small hassle of you just transferring me money, which takes her all of, like, 10 seconds, because our bank accounts have always been linked. Um, yeah. I was like, it'll cost you a whopping 10 seconds, and we'll end up with, like, free flights to our Christmas markets trip. Like, what do you want? Crying about something that's stupid. Anyway, so we went to Joann's, and Joann's in State College was having a really good sale. One of the things that we went to Joann's to try to find, the one near me that was going out of business, is some backing fabric for these advent calendars that we bought. The calendars themselves were like little panels, and I do not know why, We didn't really think about the backing and the binding and all of that kind of stuff, but we didn't, and then we went to make them a couple weeks ago, and we were like, "Wait a minute, we're missing stuff." So, if you've seen my no-buy video, you know that I have a no-buy video or a no-buy year. Actually, I'm not sure if that's out yet, but, um, I have a no-buy of fabric, but my little caveat with that is any fabric that I actually need to complete a project, I can buy. I'm just not gonna go out and, like, buy a new kit for a quilt or buy a new something. So yeah, that's I'm not even sure why I put that on there other than like the new stuff. But like I said, we knew we were going to need binding and backing fabric, and we got it. At Rapid Transit, I bought two things. I bought this little thing that goes around your license plate because mine is just destroyed. So I was like, yeah, I kind of need an update. So I got that, and I got a silicone swim cap, which I have been really wanting to try. And so I was like, oh, they're here. They're having a sale. Let's do it. Went to Raising Cane's in State College, $12.50 for lunch. Sorry, the Rapid Transit was $39.48. I stopped at Barnes& and Noble to I went in to check to see if I had anything left on a couple of gift cards, which I don't know why I kept it. Like, that was really dumb of me. But I must have used it, and either they gave it back to me and I just wasn't thinking, or I don't know. So anyway, I had to go in and be like, is there anything on these? Because the cards themselves are so stinking old, I couldn't look them up online. So I had to go into the store. And the guy was like, yeah, no, there's nothing on these. So I threw them out, but I was like, okay, but now I've seen this board game, Myrtle. I've never played it. It looks really fun. So I bought the board game. Um, Then I went to Walmart, and I made one purchase at Walmart, but I wanted to split them out because one was food and one was more like living expense related. And I didn't want like my grocery bill to look higher than it really was. So I spent $17.50 on groceries, and then I spent $16.94 on these curtains, just one pair. It was one set of curtains for one window. And once I put it up, I looked at my windows and I was like, this really looks bad. I should probably get the other two as well. But the thing I was worried the most about, just the way that my house is laid out and the bedroom that I chose, because it like one bedroom like faces the street with all the street lights. And I was like, I do not want those things like in my face when I'm trying to sleep. So I chose the other bedroom, and um the only place I can put a bed is on one of two walls, and there's a window in the middle of the wall. So like my head is up against a window, and in the wintertime especially it's really cold. And so I thought, let me see if I can get thicker curtains, like maybe that will help keep some of the cold from like being right on top of my head. So that's the goal there. We'll see. And again, I'm gonna go back to Walmart and buy the other two windows stuff because it's just really dumb. Like I looked at it and I went, this looks really stupid like this. And then the last purchase I made was some of my like groceries for the week, $44.74 at Sam's Club. So not a ton of spend this week in total. But yeah, actually it was all just these guys. What is that? $159.69 in total. Um, yeah. So pretty easy week. Honestly, it was literally all in the one day we went out there. And then otherwise I've kind of stayed home and been a bit of a homebody. I'm getting much better at not like buying things online when I look at stuff. I'll put it in the cart, or I will put it on a list and be like, someday I'll come back to that and decide whether I really want that or not. But I'm really trying this year to be a lot more frugal, to be a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for? To be a lot more conscientious about the spending that I'm doing. So yeah, we'll see. That's the week of spend. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.